Hey guys, we are about to be live with ONIX. Hey everyone, thanks for joining in. Any questions? Hey guys. Hey ONIX. I tested it. It's gonna take a second to pop up. Hey ONIX,
Hello.
can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hold on. I'm gonna have to take these out. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you look good.
Hold on. Let me make sure my volume is turned up here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
Still look good.
How do you get these people off of here? I can't see. All right, there we go. Thank
How
you.
are
Thank
you?
you.
How are
I'm
you?
great. Great. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's funny. I sent out that the uh, promo that I put up. Everyone was like, "Oh, you still look young." I'm like, "No, that picture was that was a promo
Still
picture for the show." Yeah. What? We're like 12 years ahead of that.
black don't
Yeah,
crack.
I think I aged okay.
Yeah.
I got
I have
glasses now.
to do your
I don't have to wear them all the time though. But
Okay, how are you? How you doing? How you
I'm
been since
good.
TV?
I'm good.
So, let's start with uh
Is
I
my
love New York.
is my connection okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
All right. Yeah. hmm
Okay. All right, so where you from?
Where am I from? Let's see. So I'm originally from Indianapolis. I grew up. I was born in Indianapolis. I left there when I was young, and then I grew up in Southern Illinois, which is a small town called Mount Vernon, which is not too far from St. Louis. And then I went back to Indiana when I went to college. So I grew up around Indiana, Illinois,
Okay,
Midwestern boy.
that's what's up. So what made you cast for
I got
New
the
York?
glasses. Mark, yeah, I got the Ted Bundy. I got. I didn't. I was just reading the con. I didn't think about these until I got them. I wear, those that know that I wear aviators, right? That's kind of my signature wear. And so when I went to find a pair of glasses, I was like, well, why not just go with the aviators? So yeah, thanks, Mark. Call me a serial killer over here. All right, I'm sorry, Red. Go ahead.
No, it's okay, it's okay. All right, so what made you audition or cast for I Love New York?
What made me audition? So, well, let's see. How do we start this? So back in the day, there used to be a fun social media site called MySpace. For those of you that remember MySpace. So MySpace, I had shot with a photographer that's local to the DC area. I was here in Washington, DC, where I still live here in the Washington, DC area. And I had shot for a photographer, and that photographer had my portfolio, some of those pictures of my portfolio on their site, but I was also on the top friends list. And so one of the producers who was coming to the DC area that was looking for, that was doing the casting, saw me on that photographer's website, on that photographer's MySpace page, and then contacted me and asked if I would be interested in auditioning. And so I honestly, when I was asked to audition, I didn't know exactly what I knew the premise, right? I knew it was a spinoff of Flavor of Love, right? And at the time, it was called The Flavorette. So that's what called it before it got greenlit. So I knew that it was a spinoff of Flavor of Love, right? And so didn't know who the interest was going to be, didn't know who the woman was going to be, just knew, hey, this was a spinoff of Flavor of Love. And so I went to the audition, and it was cool. It was in a hotel. I was in a hotel room with a couple of casting producers, and they were just asking very, very candid questions. We had to fill out a questionnaire. They asked stuff about our lives and our love lives and all that kind of stuff. And to be completely honest, when it was over, I was like, all right, that was cool. It was kind of weird that I was in a hotel room, doing this audition. But honestly, I didn't think I would get a call back. I honestly didn't think I'd get a call back. I just thought, hey, I've watched The Flavor of Love. I know what this is about. They don't need me. I'm not bringing the drama. I'm not bringing the craziness. So, but yeah, sure enough, I ended up getting a call about, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks later. Maybe 3 weeks later. It was actually the week when I got the call that they wanted me to be on the show. I had to be in LA that week, so it was the week of, and still didn't know who the girl was going to be. And the woman, still didn't know who the woman was going to be until that day. I think it was like a Wednesday that I got that call, and I had to be in LA on that Saturday. So yeah, it all happened, pretty fast. And so, why did I do the show? I wasn't sure in the beginning that I wanted to do the show. I wasn't sure what I was getting myself into, but after kind of talking to some friends and one of my sisters, it was like, why not? Just do it. At the end of the day, you're gonna regret it if you don't, right? You just go and be yourself. And the only thing that I planned on doing or wanted to do at the end of that whole experience was to leave with my dignity and my integrity. So I hope I did that. That was the plan. But it was fun.
Regret later on.
Yeah. I mean, looking back, I'm so glad that I did do the show. I mean, it was a great experience. It had it was stressful at times, but it was a good experience, and we made some great TV, and obviously still to this day, I mean, we are 14, 15, almost 15 years. What was this? 2007, I think the show aired.
Right.
So we filmed it in 2006, and here we are still talking about it, right? So
exactly.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. No regrets there.
Right. Okay, so how long did it take for you to get used to all the cameras and everything behind the scenes?
I'm sorry, I say that again one more time.
How long did it take for you to get used to the cameras and
let's see. Well, I mean, I guess I had done some things before, right? I mean, I'd done theater before. I'd done some commercial before. I was modeling. So, being in front of the camera wasn't necessarily, out of the, I mean, it wasn't part of my daily life, but it did take a lot of getting used to it, especially, the cameras were on you 24/7, right? And as long as, we were in that house, as long as as long as people were up and moving around, lights were on, the cameras were rolling. And, so you just kind of had to, after about a day or so, you kind of got used to it. The cameras really didn't stay in your way much. They were always in the peripheral for the most part. And then once you started really engaging with your other, castmates, it didn't really bother you much. It didn't bother me much. You did just kind of have to, things that being mic'd. I think being mic'd up all day was probably a little bit more nerve-wracking than being on camera, just because even though you know that there are mics that you're being heard, it's just knowing that microphone is on you. You couldn't whisper anything that wasn't going to get heard. So you go to the bathroom and your mic is on. You know what I mean? It's like, that kind of stuff. So that did take a little getting used to. But once you started, once you really got into the house and you really just started to have fun with it, it didn't really matter at that point. I think it would be different if you were just by yourself. But having the first day having like 20 other people there with you made it a lot easier.
Right. So there's a question right here for you. What's been your favorite non-reality show role?
My favorite that I've done or that I enjoy watching?
I'm not even sure.
I would say my favorite non-reality, and it's funny because even after doing reality, I still get sucked into reality TV. Like and it's mostly because I think I know what goes on behind the scenes, and even though the formula has changed, changed a little bit from when, we did our show. I still kind of like, I still watch, and sometimes I'll get sucked in, and then I have to take a step back, be like, okay, wait a minute. I know what's going on. I know there's still production, there's still a camera, there's still, people writing, writing storylines. Like sometimes you forget that, not to draw myself back in. But I love watching Housewives, Potomac. I like Potomac and Salt Lake City. But and I actually know some of these people as well, but I like, let's see, what have I been watching? I just watched the series Swarm on Prime. Yeah, I'm a huge Donald Glover fan. I was a big Childish Gambino fan. Like I just love, like, I mean anything, honestly, black art, especially blurred art. I love black nerds. I like that nerdy stuff. But yeah, Donald Glover has always been, even though he's I think younger, quite younger than I am. I've always had this like admiration for him and his art. As an actor, as a musician. But yeah, that series was really good, really good. I really like that.
Right. I definitely agree. I just watched it last night.
Yeah. Did you finish it?
I actually did, and well, I think I did. I think I have like one more episode to watch, but I'm pretty much
okay. All right. We don't want to get too many spoiler alerts, right?
No, for sure.
Too many spoilers.
Who was the first person you met?
First person I met on the show?
Yeah.
Oh man. Ooh, I have to really reach back for that one. I'm not sure who the first person I met was. So when the very first day, when I got to LA, I got there on a Saturday. So I was in a hotel. Most of us were all sequestered in a hotel for a couple of days. So got there on Saturday. I was there Saturday, Sunday, and they were still doing some interviews. They were still asking us questions. I think they might have even still been making cuts. They may have had some people there that didn't even make it to Monday, which is when we were starting the day we got on set to film. And so that Monday, so we were all in the hotel, but they kind of told us, hey, stay in your rooms, don't go wandering around, don't go do a whole bunch of stuff. Like, we want your first encounters with everyone to be very organic and on camera. Like, they wanted those first impressions. And so, I followed the rules. I stayed in my room. I didn't know anybody. So, I just kind of hung out there. And when on Monday, when we were told to meet downstairs to get on the shuttles to take us to the mansion, was the first time we really got to see who anyone was. But we still didn't talk. Like, they made us kind of sit there. They gave us some briefings, and then they put us all on vans on the shuttles, and then we went to set. And none of us were really talking. I mean, I don't know if anyone knew each other before, but we got there. But I tell you, I mean, I know once we got there, I mean, the people that I clicked with, it was Tango. Tango and I are still cool to this day. That's my boy, my home. He just had a baby. Shout out to Tango. Yeah. It was Tango, 12-pack, Heat. Those guys were really cool, and we are all still friends to this day. So, and then there were a couple of other guys too. But the interesting story. So when we first got to set, we were all kind of just hanging around, waiting for direction, find out what we were going to do. We hadn't gone into the house yet. There's just the production, the crew, everyone was standing around, and this car pulls up, and these two dudes get out of the car, and they come walking towards us, and then people start talking to them like they know them, and it's like, well, who are these guys, right? Everyone's looking at them like, how come they didn't come on the shuttle like we came on the shuttle, right? And it was Real and Chance, right? So they came walking up, and it was very apparent at that point that they were already known, right? The production, the crew, somebody knew who they were. And I think what it came down to, from rumor mill, but it kind of turned out this way, that they were already kind of pegged to be the standouts of the show, because I think that they may have already been sort of in the works of maybe having another show at one point. And so this was the way to kind of introduce them, to see if they, cut the mustard, right? See if they were actually good for television, and they, and obviously that's why they were the first ones to get a show after, after it was all said and done. But, I mean, and that's why they were already on. They knew what to do. The rest of us didn't know what to do, but they knew what to do.
Right.
So, and to be completely honest, I mean, they made it fun. If it wasn't for them, a couple of other people too were great television. Boston, Mr. Boston is Lee. We're actually cool too. He's one of my boys as well, and we actually have a few degrees of separation. Mr. Boston has a twin, and his name is Mark. So it's Lee and Mark, and Mr. Boston's brother dated one of my friends from back in Indianapolis, and didn't find out till like after the show. So when everyone was talking, they were like, "Wait a minute, how do you know this person?" It's like, "Oh, that was my brother's ex-girlfriend." I'm like, "Oh, we went to school together. Like, her roommate was my best friend." So yeah, that was a kind of interesting dynamic there. But yeah, so Real and Chance, I mean, they were already ready to make good TV from day one, and then the rest, everybody else just followed suit. That was pretty much how they did it.
Well, how was the first night being in there? Like, what type of, like, does New York stay in the house?
Oh yeah, yes. so she stayed in the house. So it was a pretty good size house, right? But production took up most of that house. So we had a very small, we had like the common areas were like the living room, the kitchen, like they had like a kind of a rec, like a common area with pool tables and everything. Then we had our bedrooms, and then the outside in the backyard, right? So the house was located. I saw Mark saying the house was located in it was up in the Beverly Hills area, in the so I just remembered, and I've been up there since, but I hadn't been in that part of LA when we first got there, and we were in these bands, and we're going up the mountains, and it's like, where are we going? And so yeah, it was up in the Hollywood Hills. And I'm not sure who owned it before, if it was anybody famous or anything like that. I have no idea, but it was, it was a cool house. But of course, they turned it into the I Love New York house, but that first day was wild. I mean, there was a lot going on. I mean, it was, you had 20 guys and crew, production crew, and it was just kind of feeling everybody out. It's just, you didn't know what this experience was really going to be like. And I don't know. Are you still there? I don't see your picture anymore. So, okay, all right.
Yeah, sorry.
And so yeah, so it was interesting. It was interesting to see, looking back on it, who was really ready for this experience and who wasn't. But it was like we just didn't know what the next day was going to bring. Only thing you could compare it to was what we had seen on Flavor of Love, and so we knew there were going to be obviously some challenges, things like that. We were going to have to compete in some way, shape, or form, but I had no idea what to expect. That first night was just a lot of drinking. There was no real competition yet. We were, honestly, I mean, you put a bunch of guys in a room together, I mean, you form a fraternity real quick. Like, you're just trying to, hey, what's up? What are you about? Where are you from? What are you doing? And there's no real competition until you really get into, a few days in, and you kind of see what, once you weed some people out, and other people kind of start to show their true colors, then that's when you really get into the fun part. But there was a time when we were a couple of days after we had been there, and we had some downtime. We were sitting outside by the basketball court, and we had there was a guy who was kind of like our handler, right? He's a part of the crew. His name was G. Called him G. And G had worked on other reality shows before. And so we're just kind of sitting there like, okay, we were a little bored, what do we do? Like, what's expected of us, and he kind of, sat us down, and we had a little conversation, and he was like, hey, like, this is your show,
right.
Make a good show. That's all you gotta do. Make a good show. Do what you want, if you want to throw a party, throw a party. If you want to throw a punch, throw a punch. You know what I mean? Like, he was like, do what you want, and at the end of the day, it's just about making good TV. And after a while, you really didn't have to do much. I mean, it came, like, the drama just would just happen, and some of it was forced, some of it was people wanting to make good TV moments, and some of it was just people just being frustrated at being there. You're cut off from the outside world. There's no TV. There was a phone, but you couldn't really use the phone. I mean, you had to ask for production, and you're not really gonna call anyone and have a personal conversation because you're being listened to, and you have a camera on you. So yeah, like, most of the time you didn't know what time it was. you didn't know what day it was. you just whatever it was time to do, it was time to do. Yeah.
You was lost on reality TV. That's funny.
Yeah.
So, like.
But that's how they. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but that's kind of the formula, I think, right? It's once you uh, once you kind of mix all those people together and all the different personalities, and you add in some alcohol and some testosterone, and eventually it's gonna happen. The drama's gonna evolve. But it's funny because we have to do psych evaluations before we get there, right? So we literally got a call from a clinical psychologist or psychiatrist, whoever they were, and you had to ask questions, or you had to answer questions. And in the beginning, I was like, oh wow, like I didn't think that they that this was a part of this, like they were trying to, in my mind, I guess I thought that maybe they were trying to weed out the crazy. But then after being there for a couple of weeks, you're like, oh, they want to keep the crazy people in, like.
Wow.
So,
Well,
it's much better TV that way, right?
Yeah. Do you think like people were different when they weren't drinking, or is this
Yeah, definitely
sober thing where people are naturally for the TV and for
yeah, because it's your inhibitions start to go away, so after you've had some drinks, and especially if you've been I mean, we had as much alcohol as we wanted. I mean, if whatever we ran out of, all we had to do was ask for more, and we get it. So and after a while, because the first week or so, it's, of course, I mean, it's like it's a party for the most part. So everybody's drinking, and then after a while, you're just kind of like, all right, like I'm over it.
Right.
I mean, you might drink occasionally, but you're not, because you kind of get more into the what's planned for the show, the production schedule. So your eliminations every other day, the competitions, this and that. So there was still time to drink, but at the same time, less time to drink, farther on, until I don't know, I was only there half the season. So after I left, I don't really know, what really transpired, but there may have been, they may have had more opportunities to do more drinking with less people there. So
yes. So I was gonna actually ask you about the eliminations and how the production sets it up, and how long does it take, besides the obviously.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't like to ruin reality TV too much for people. I mean, but I think at this point we all kind of understand that it is still television, right? So it is very much a production. Like you still have the lighting, the crew, and everything that are there all the time. So things still have to be set up, right? So a lot of times when we're not like in the house, just kind of hanging out, it's a lot of wait time, because they have to set things up. So like elimination, there was an elimination every 2 days, I think it was. So we'd have to get ready, get dressed, and then we'd spend a lot of time just kind of like standing there. Now, for looking while you're going through it, you're like, man, why are they making us stand here for like 20 minutes? We're just standing here, like doing nothing, just standing. You're getting hot. The lights are on you and everything. And then once you go back and you watch the show, you're like, oh, okay, now it all makes sense. So even while we're standing there, the cameras are rolling, right? So the camera's catching us making facial expressions, looking bored, looking unamused, looking amused. Sometimes we're laughing at each other, sometimes, and then they were able to take all that 20 minutes of us just standing there looking around and stuff, and then they can insert that into the episode. And I figured that out later. I was like, wait a minute, like that wasn't my reaction. I was reacting to something completely different than what it was that they showed that reaction to. But you know, that's what we sign on that line for. We give them, you know,
Right.
creative rights to kind of do whatever they want to. That's the editing process, but that's kind of how it goes. But you know, but the eliminations were a little nerve-wracking, right? Like it for me, I wanted to stay. Um, I wasn't sure I wanted to win, but in hindsight, if I could do it all over again, I would have tried a little harder, I think, to get a little farther. But even when you're like ready to leave, you're like, oh man, I'm so tired. Like I'm ready to go. I'm over this. You still don't want to get eliminated because, you know, it's just that you're still sitting there like with your heart is beating like dirty. It's like, oh, please don't, please don't tell me to go home, you know, because you still, you know, I don't know. It's just, I guess it's not failure, but you know, you just don't, you know that this is going to be on national television and you kind of hope like, okay, like, did I embarrass myself? Did I make anybody cry? You know, so you know, so those eliminations were still very
intense,
very intense that way. Especially my elimination, because my elimination was quite interesting.
Did Sister Patterson ever forgive you? Someone said.
So Sister Patterson and I have already squashed it. We did that, honestly. We did that even before the reunion show. And this was kind of weird. So one day I get a call from White Boy, right? So White Boy is still living in Miami at the time. And I got a call from him. He's like, hey, man, guess who's here right now? She wants to talk to you. I was like, ooh. He's like, and he put her on the phone, right? And it's Sister Patterson. And so they're hanging out. They're in Miami hanging out, you know, and we got to talking, you know, and we made amends because it was like at the end of the day, we knew this was just for television, right? Like it wasn't, nothing was to be taken personal. You know, it is what it is. And then after that, though, I think the reunion show was after that, as a matter of fact. And they were actually trying to get me to apologize. They were like, you know, hey, we think you should really apologize to Sister Patterson. We think it'd be a great moment, you know, of healing, right? And at first I was like, okay, yeah, you might be right. All right, I'll think about that. But then when I got to the show and we were getting ready, we were in the green room and they were asking where they were prepping us, and they asked me about it again. I was like, you know, I don't think so. I mean, I just didn't want to, you know, the comment, like I stood by the comments that I made and, you know, how and why I made them. And I didn't want to back down from that because then I look like a punk. Right? Yeah, I look like a punk. I mean, like, you know, it's like, I'm not, what, you know, so, you know, so originally I was going to go on stage and we were going to have our moment. But then when I was told that, when I told them I wasn't going to apologize, then they were like, okay, well, you know, you don't have to go on stage. You can do your segment from your seat. And I was like, oh, wow. All right. I mean, it is what it is. But there's no hard feelings, you know, between her or Tiffany, you know. I mean, it was a great experience, and, you know, we did what we had to do to make a TV show, and, you know. I mean, and this is way too many years later to harbor any hard feelings towards anybody.
Do you feel like they have characters and they play them to the full extent?
Oh, no doubt. They did. They understood the assignment for real. I wish I had understood it a little bit more, though. Right. But it wasn't my show. I mean, it was my show, but it wasn't my show, right? I mean, my name wasn't on it. But if my ego was large enough, you know, I mean, I could have tried to make it my show. But yeah, that's just not me. And my whole thing was, I'm not going to go on there and pretend to be somebody else. I think that's maybe a little different from reality TV today, where now that, you know, we were so early in the game, you know, that a lot of us didn't really know. Well, now see, like if I'd have been on season 2 or season, or another season, yeah, I think we only had 2 seasons, right? Did we have 3? I think there's only 2. Um, if I had been on season 2, I may have approached it a little differently because I would have seen, already what's kind of expected,
Right.
and I might have made some different choices, but all in all, I mean, I'm still, I have no regrets. I'm still happy with how I was portrayed. I mean, I felt that I was true to myself, and that's, couldn't ask for anything more than that.
So
But
looking back,
they try to get you. They try to slip you up, right? It's because you're on camera, 24/7, and you're mic'd up 24/7. The producers are constantly watching you, right? And so sometimes they try to sway you to do things or to say certain things. Now, at the end of the day, and they do that for every show, right? For every reality TV show, it's up to you to decide what you're going to do, right? If they ask you to, hey, have you thought about maybe this, or what's going on with you and this person, or have you thought about this? They do that, and you can decide to either take their suggestions and go with it, and obviously for most people, I think they're especially in an elimination show like ours, if people are in fear of, well, if I don't do what they're kind of suggesting, then maybe I might get kicked off, or and so if I want to stay on the show longer, then I should probably do what they're wanting me to do, that kind of thing. But sometimes they would they would come to me after they saw me or heard me, and they knew my reactions to certain things, but a lot of times I wouldn't give them what they wanted. So because if what I say and do doesn't match up with what they have on tape, on camera, then they can't use it. And I figured that out. I was like, oh, well, if I say this and I do this, that means they can twist it and manipulate it if they want to. But if I don't give them what they want, then it goes on the cutting room floor. So I kind of learned that little trick. So I had to maneuver a little differently because a lot of people would say, oh, well, you didn't really say much or do much, or, but I was, but if they can't use it, then it's not going to get, if it doesn't fit the storyline, then it's not going to make the final edit. So, yeah.
So which guys would you say you can see having their own TV show?
Oh, man. I for sure thought Boston was going to get his own show. I honestly, I thought he would be the first one. I mean, obviously, Real and Chance, because they were the last 2 standing, right? Or the last 3, with Tango. And Tango's my dude, but I mean, if it was a reality show with him, it wouldn't be like Tango would be more like the Bachelor, right? I mean, he's like me. He's a straight laced kind of cat, right? Whereas Real and Chance brought the comedy, and that over the top, and Boston was that too. And Boston was just, I mean, he was just hilarious. You could just sit in a room with him and not say anything and laugh. So I thought for sure he would get a show. Let's see, who else from my group? Maybe 12 Pack. 12 Pack was good for TV, but he actually ended up going on Daisy of Love, so he still had a couple of, he had other options as well. But yeah, I would say that's probably about it. I mean, who else? I mean, T-Weed would have been funny if he had a show. It would have been funny if he had a show. But yeah, like I like to say, a lot of us, we're just normal dudes. Like, we weren't trying to get it. But yeah, I think that would be it. We needed a Boston show.
Right, for sure. So, what are some things that you were doing between I Love New York and I Love Money?
Oh, man. So I was very fortunate that when I did I Love New York, I was able to take some leave from my job, and when I came back, my job was still there, right? So between I Love New York and I Love Money, I left that company and went to another company. And my before I went out to do I Love Money, my boss left, right? So she left, and I had sort of an interim manager that was located. I was here in the DC area. My boss was located in Texas. My interim boss, I didn't know her, didn't know anything, didn't really have a really much relationship with her. And so when it came time for me to decide if I was going to do I Love Money or not, I went to her and I was like, hey, I'm gonna do this show. It's not gonna take a lot of time. Like, I'm not gonna be gone a long time. Like, it doesn't take forever to film. And I was a contractor, right? So I wasn't a permanent employee, so I was a contractor. So being a contractor, you can kind of come and go. They can find another contractor to come in and do work. Right. And so she basically told me that I could go, but I wasn't guaranteed to. When I came back, I wasn't guaranteed my job. So I don't know if you remember watching I Love Money, but there was a one point where I may have said something about, hey, I'm not sure if I'm gonna have a job when I get back home. And that was the truth. That was the truth. So yeah, I think when I got back, when I got back, I had to find another job. Oh, wow. And obviously I didn't win, so I needed to go back to work. And I Love Money I Love New York was a different experience, and it was cool and it was fun. I Love Money was fun, but I think it was more stressful, because you're bringing all these people from all these different, other shows, and you don't know anything about them. Most of us know each other, by sight, because, we were watching all of the Up Love, shows. So we know of each other. We just don't really know each other. And so, and honestly, with a show like that, especially competing for money, everybody comes from a different background and, in different situations, right? I mean, in different financial situations. And, there were people who really wanted to win that money. I mean, it would have been nice to win it. I mean, but I had a career. It wasn't like I wasn't broke. I wasn't competing for that money because that's, it was going to change my life for the most part. But, there were some stressful moments. But what the sad part, I think, for me was I went in with a strategy that I really thought was a good strategy. And then it kind of, the wrench got thrown into that real quick because, no one was being strategic. They were just, a lot of things were just based on emotions. And so, I was trying to keep the emotions out of it and just play the game. And that doesn't always work. Right. And so I got eliminated relatively quickly. And I was like, how the hell did that happen? And yeah, so
how
it's what it is. My boy, he it was his fault, but I don't hold a grudge. We're still friends.
So this is actually a good question. Someone said, do you think there was anyone in I Love New York that genuinely fell in love with her?
Ooh. I couldn't say. I really can't say. I spent a few moments with Tiffany, and and Tiffany's cool. New York, she's cool. I mean, she was there she was a character, right? We had a few downtime moments when the cameras weren't really on us, and we had conversations, and I think that if I hadn't spent more time with her without the camera, it might have been different, but because we're making a show and she's the main character. She has to spend her time with the people who are really trying to compete for her, because that's what the show is about, right? That's what the producers want. So that's why I can say, you know, genuinely, there's Tiffany, and then there's New York, right? I think I saw, you know, my one-on-one time was with Tiffany, right? So, but you know, I don't know. I really can't say. I don't believe it. Like, I mean, I think some of the guys had eventually formed a, you know, had a really formed a, you know, had a relationship with her. But I'm not going to say anyone fell in love with her. Even Tango, I mean, you know, I think I was honestly surprised when it got as far as it did. And I was like, are you, like is this real? I know you want to win, but it's just like, is this real? But he's you know, he's a stand-up dude. I mean, I think when it came down to it, was she the woman that he in his personal life would be with? No, I don't think so. But I think he found something in her to like gravitate to, right? It's like, okay, hey, if I'm going to do this and I'm going to try to win it, I got to find something about this person that I can connect with. And I think that's what he did, you know. I mean, but Real and Chance, I mean, I don't know about those guys. I mean, I think they became close, put it that way. I think because, you know, once you start to dwindle, you know, once you eliminate most of the guys, and then it's only a few of you left, you're spending a lot of time together, even though it's, you know, it's a short period of time, but the time that you are there, you're spending a lot of time together. So I'm not gonna say you can get to know it. You can't really get to know someone, but you can, you know, you can form a bond, at least in that moment in space. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna say anybody. I don't think anybody was in love with her. I mean, the rumor is, no, never mind. I'm not even gonna go there.
The rumor is what?
I mean, I would say the rumor is someone may have had intimate relations, but I cannot confirm that, right, or deny that. So.
Right.
But it was later, like towards like the very end, you know.
Right. So, so okay, so I Love Money. So how much different was production on that show?
I mean, I Love Money was a little different. I mean, I think because it was so much movement going on. Like it was like, boom, we're here. I mean, there was downtime, but I mean, production was really intense. Like but they weren't in it as much. At least not with me. Maybe they were with other people. Like I felt like they kept their distance more in I Love Money and just kind of let things play out. But I do know that there were moments when they did have to kind of pull people aside and say, because I think a lot of it too were like emotions were running really high. You know what I mean? It's like no one was competing for a guy or a girl, right? I mean, we were competing against each other for a prize, and I think that made it more intense. So I think that some of that they just kind of let those things play out, because, you know, I mean, it was going to happen anyway. I mean, people were going to be on edge. But I do feel occasionally they went to people, like, for instance, like when I got eliminated, you know, I feel that production kind of stepped in, and he made a decision. Like they didn't make him but he made the decision to choose Laylene over me, because he had a potential on-screen romance there, right? And so even though we were friends, he knew that storyline would probably keep him on longer, you know, and he could have a girlfriend on the show. I mean, I'm sure that was pretty, you know, if you had to choose choose the girl and the woman in the bikini over the dude that could potentially be, you know, your biggest competition later. Well, I mean, so, but I thought as far as my strategy was concerned, I thought that you know, that's why you can't trust anything. I mean, that's the game, right? But I did think that I thought that he would save me, but you know, and then he got eliminated the next, I think right after, right? So it didn't work. So I don't think it didn't work.
I was gonna say, what do you think about when the next episode where she told him to stay away from her?
Yeah, see, and that's where I kind of felt. I'm like, dude, I think you got set up. You know, you should have just went with me, because I would have saved you. You know what I mean? Like, that was the whole point. Like, you know, you have to form these. You don't have to form an alliance, but you know, if you do, you know, you got to make sure you're making the right choices. But yeah. I mean, he just made the wrong choice.
Have you seen season 1?
You win some, you lose some.
Have you seen season 1 of I Love Money?
Yeah. I remember watching season 1. And honestly, I don't remember too much. I know it was a lot more intense than ours was. I think there were a lot more fights than we had on our show.
Who would you say was known as the villain on that show?
Let's see. Taylor Made was on that show, right? And Taylor Made's he's not a villain. Taylor Made's actually a cool guy. We've kept in touch over the years.
No, Taylor Made was on the first one.
Was he on my show?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he was on mine. Let's see.
So the first one had, you know, Pumpkin and Megan.
Yeah. I mean, I like Megan, and Megan and I have actually kept in touch over the years too. But Megan was a big villain on that. Megan played, but here's the crazy thing: is looking back and knowing. I mean, I'm gonna say, put it this way: I'm gonna say Megan grew up. You know, like over the, you know, she matured. But I still want to think that I think that she was playing a total role. Like, I don't think that was her at all.
Yeah.
But she did good. She was a good, yeah. She was a good villain. Who else was on that show? Who else was on season 1? You have to refresh my memory.
So entertainer Jason Heat.
Oh yeah. He was on both. Yeah, he was on the first one too.
Right.
Frank. Frank and I have had. I like Frank. I think Frank's a good dude. But we've gotten into it before, because he got mad at me because I did an interview one time and I said he was an asshole, and he got mad.
So
I'm like, well, what do you say? Like, I mean, you know, you were kind of playing the role. Like, you know, why you get mad at me for saying it? You know, but hello.
Hey, girl.
But we squashed that too, and now we're cool. But he was you know, he can play a villain when he wants to, put it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have some questions as well. So I wanted to start off by asking, what did the reality TV shows help your career, or did it ruin your reputation in a sense?
Well, see, like I was telling Red earlier, like I felt that, you know, when I left the show, either one of those shows, you know, I felt like I left with my dignity and my integrity intact, so I wasn't so worried. Like, and that's part. So when I decided to do the show, that's what I said. You know, hey, if I am going to get something, if something's going to come of this, you know, I studied theater in college. I did theater. You know, so I wanted to have a career. So I didn't necessarily want to do anything that would hinder that. Like, I still wanted to be taken seriously. And if I had made different choices, I mean, who knows? In my mind, I believe that if I got on there acting like a fool, then no one would take me serious, and then I wouldn't get, I wouldn't do the things that I felt that I, could do, or the trajectory of an acting career, wouldn't go as planned. And ideally, acting was what I wanted to do, but it was I wanted to be more of a more of a I thought hosting a talk show would probably be something in my future, right? I was more of an on-air personality than more of a even though I enjoyed acting, but that wasn't necessarily what I thought that I would make a career out of. But it actually did, help my career. I mean, I've got 3 Emmy nominations, right? So, it definitely helped to, to kind of, put me in the right path and meet the right people. And it's not like I'm doing anything extremely, extraordinary, but I've had opportunities to be a part of some great projects, and I've met some great people, and I've gotten to do some really cool things, and it's not over. I mean, I can still do many more things. It's just that, now I've got a family, and so, I do what I need to do, to take care of my family, and so that means pay the bills. So that means you have to keep a job, and then I do all the other things when I can. But when I had my daughter, she's 12. I mean, 12. She's 10 now, going on 11, and I stopped doing a lot. I wanted to be present, and so I stopped auditioning as much. I kind of kept a couple of projects that I was working on, and I stayed with those, but I wasn't out auditioning much. So I wanted to keep my job, keep my insurance, and, and all that other stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I think once the show aired, a couple of years after that, I did a few independent films. Film projects that I was proud of. I did some some TV stuff, and we started a web series called Anacostia, and we've been filming that for going on like 11 years now. And that's and we I think we have a total of 7 Emmy nominations for that. So I mean, I wasn't disappointed, put it that way. Do I look back and say, okay, could I maybe made some different choices and gone some different directions? Yeah, sure, that's hindsight, right? We can always look back and the woulda, coulda, shouldas. But yeah, I have no complaints to this day. And at the same time, when the time comes, I can easily kind of jump back in there and start going to auditions and working on different projects. And there's projects that I've been thinking about pursuing for some time now. I just haven't lit that fire under me. I've procrastinated. I've been wanting to do it. What's that?
I said, oh my God, Farrah just joined.
Oh, hey, Farrah. Yeah. Farrah's cool.
What project was your favorite, and why?
Oh man. I mean, I really liked I Love Money, at least the premise of it. Like, I wish I could do it again just to see if there's a different outcome, to maybe try a different approach. But it was nice to kind of be a little more free, and not, like I said, I was saying earlier that, I Love New York was different because you're on there competing for love, you know what I mean? Like, but I Love Money was more freeing because it was like, okay, everybody's just here, they're just being themselves, and they want to win this money, and it's a competition, you know what I mean? Like, it's, and so I did enjoy that too, and I enjoyed the location better. I mean, we were in Mexico, like southern Mexico. I mean, it was nice.
I have a question about I Love Money. I meant to ask you earlier. Do you feel like most of the girls were using their sex appeal to get by in the competition?
Uh, um, I mean, some, but I mean, that's you have to use what you got, right? I mean, whatever works.
Right.
But not all of them. No, but there were a few. But I don't think that they were. I'm not saying that they were necessarily using. I mean, I just think that I don't know. I think many of them they just felt free. It was, you're you're in Mexico. You're basically, some of them were pretty much in a bikini all day. So whether or not they were using it or it was just apparent that it was there, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
but I think that's it could have been a part of some strategies because it's like, okay, well, it's easy to take down a man if you get his mind thinking other things. So as a competition show,
Mm-hmm.
You want to throw any man off his game. That's how you do it.
Right.
What were your thoughts going into the house when you first seen it?
In New York or Isle of Money?
Isle of Money.
Oh, it was like it was unlike any place I'd ever been, really. I mean, yeah, I've been on vacation before, but not like, like this was an amazing house, and then the food, everything was fresh every day. The fruit, the vegetables, the seafood. I mean, I was happy just to be there and eat. It was actually pretty good. But you're on, like, it was almost felt like we had this whole island to ourselves because it was like there weren't many people down there. I would say maybe it was off season or maybe production. I don't know, but it was like we were just there, and there were very few people around. But yeah, I mean, I just thought it was going to be cool. I mean, I knew it was going to be, I knew there would be some moments that were going to be, stressful because I knew some of the personalities that were there. I was like, okay, I don't know, we're gonna get through this. I don't know how, but it was cool. Like Miami, I was so glad. I was happy Miami won. Miami's cool. We spent, after the show, she's been to DC and we've kicked it a few times, and she was like a little sister. She reminds me of my little sister a little bit, and I was really happy when she won because I think she definitely deserved to, and I knew that she was going to do really good things with the money, right? So I was happy about that. But there were a few personalities that Bucky. I knew we were gonna. Like, she was cool,
Wait,
but I knew we were gonna at some point. Buck Wild, yeah. Like it's like at some point it's gonna happen because you might be cool one minute, but she's gonna flip that. But and it's not that it's necessarily, looking back, you can't take it personal because it is a game, and she knows how to play the head game. Like, she knows how to get into your head, and but and she lives up to the name. I mean, she will go buck wild in a minute. And I was on the receiving end of that, a few times. It's like,
yeah, like, so how
whatever.
ended up playing out because I do remember you guys going on a outing with Heat, and she was going off on her friend.
Yeah.
It's just like, how's that moment?
Right. But it's like it's when you're on television, right? And you can push the buttons, and you can push it to the limit, and basically you're gonna be like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna hit me? What are you gonna do, right? And she knows she will push you to the brink, to the point to where you just, you want to explode, but then you look stupid, right? Like, as a man, you can look real dumb. Right. trying to go off on a woman, so, and she knew that. Like, she knew how to push those buttons. But but at the end, like I said, you just have to brush it off and see it for what it is. hey, we're on a TV show. It's competition. That she
said it was
knows.
real.
Yeah, she has that name. She knows her name.
That's funny.
What made you, I don't know if this question was asked when I wasn't here, but what made you pursue reality TV?
Yeah, she asked me that earlier, and it wasn't really not really that I pursued it. I just happened to be there. Like a producer reached out to me. I was modeling at the time. Saw some pictures that I had taken on the photographer's MySpace page, and reached out to me through MySpace, and was like, hey, we're gonna be in the DC area, and we're conducting auditions for this show. And I think he told me that at that time, I think it was the same time, but I knew it was going to be a spinoff of Flavor of Love. At that time, the working title was called the Flavorette, right? So we didn't know, who the girl was going to be at all. I didn't know it was going to be New York until the week I had to fly out to LA. So initially, I wasn't really sure that I wanted to do the show. But after, talking to, friends and things, like, well, why would you not? Like, this is a great opportunity, Then when I found out it was New York, I was like, because here's the thing. I think every single dude that got an audition or went on audition thought it was going to be Hoops. I mean, she won the first show, right? So here's what everyone doesn't know. I'm going to give you a little inside peek here into how this process. Right. So I love Flavor of Love. Flavor of Love had one season, right? The very first season with that Hoops one, right? Okay, and then Flavor of Love 2 came out, right? Flavor of Love, girl, you taking shots?
Oh, my camera off. That could give the fair spark.
Yeah, you didn't say this was BYOB. I could have went ahead and brought my own drink.
Yeah, my wine is all the way over here.
Listen,
so, fair, calling you out.
I'm done.
So here's the thing. So Flavor of Love 2 was on, right? The season had started before I went out to LA to film I Love New York season 1. What we did not know, because we were filming, New York came back to on Flavor of Love 2, right? He brought her back. We didn't know because we were filming. I didn't know she was on the show. So at one point while we were filming, she said something to the effect of Flav broke my heart twice, right? And I remember looking at, I think it was me, Tango, and Rico. Rico was on, I forgot to say Rico's name earlier. Rico, we were all cool. I think it was the three of us, maybe somebody else. And we were like, wait, twice? Like, what does that mean, right? Didn't think anything about it after that until I got eliminated. And then I came home. What's up, my girl, Keita? Hey, Keita. I came home and Flavor of Love 2 was still on. Like, so, and I'm watching, I'm like, why is New York back on here? So, and then she gets to the elimination and then the whole thing, right? And so then I'm thinking, I'm like, man, I was like, we look real stupid right now. Cause the viewers are saying like, okay, like New York was on this show twice, like acting a fool, right? And like now that why would these dudes wanna get with her after we've seen her twice on TV already, right? And I was like, oh man. I was like, but then after that, it was like, whatever. It is what it is. But after I saw season 2, I was like, because she was acting up on season 2. And I was like, wow, people are gonna look at us and be like, man, y'all stupid. But I mean, that's obviously water under the bridge. That was a long time ago. But yeah, but it was interesting. It was just interesting. So then I started realizing that was the cycle. So every time there was a show that was on, there's a show that's filming.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I Love New York season 1 is on air, if the production schedule is around the same, about midway through that season, they've already taken and they're already starting to film the second season, so that the people are they're not so that the contestants are not watching it. So you take them away, you take them out, so they have no idea until they come back and are either watching reruns or stuff like that. So, but they're not watching it. They're not watching. They're not able to come onto set and be like, oh, I know what's going on and what just happened or what's happening on the season. So that's how they get you.
Did you feel was the connection genuine off camera? Did you have that little connection there?
I think like I said earlier before you came on that a few of the moments that I had with New York, I had with Tiffany. You know what I mean? Like it was downtime. The cameras were somewhere else because some dudes are probably upstairs doing some crazy, some craziness. And we may catch each other in the kitchen or in the living room and sit down and have a little conversation about something. And then but it was usually that stuff is cutting room floor, right? That's not nobody cares about those moments. So you have them, but they get missed.
ONIX, have you watched other Love shows? And the ones you have watched are your favorites from other shows?
Can you say that again? Because I'm over here reading Farrah talking trash. What'd you say?
That's funny. So the other Love shows, which ones have you watched, and who are your favorites from those seasons?
I gotta say Farrah. Farrah's my favorite rock.
She's definitely favorite. Every day.
Oh, that's you. Let's see. Man, I gotta remember names. Because I might end up, because I kind of call people by their real names and I like their names for the show.
Well, we probably don't buy the names in the show anyways.
Yes.
That's true. Let's see. Man, I might have to come back to that one.
Okay.
Can you ever see yourself going back to a season if you were offered one? Or would you rather do something different?
Oh, yeah, I'd have to do something different. I couldn't do another. I couldn't do another baby. If it was maybe an I Love Money type of show, potentially, or some type of competition show like that, or maybe even just a how they do like a Big Brother or something like that. But I couldn't do a competition, a dating show anymore. I just
So if
I don't have that.
Go back to I Love Money, what would you have done different to stay in the game longer?
Say that again.
If you were to go back to I Love Money, what would you have done to stay in the game?
I wouldn't form any alliances. I'd be a lone wolf and just do what I felt I needed to do and not try to make any, game plan or I would have a game plan, but it definitely wouldn't be, bringing anyone else into my plan or yeah. Because like I said, I really thought I was being strategic, and then I realized that other people are not really being strategic. So it's like it doesn't work unless everybody is kind of on the same wavelength. But it becomes more, your emotions start to kind of take over. So and I would maybe like, you know, Farrah's over here talking about being serious. I would probably try to be a little. I would be more of a villain, I think, or try to. I don't think I'd be a villain, but I definitely would be Two-Face. You know what I mean? Like I'd have to play a double role. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How do you feel about the new age reality TV now?
Well, it depends because reality TV now is it's so broad, right? So it goes from like this, like Us, I Love New York type of genre to like TLC, like, you know, 600-pound sisters. You know what I mean? I've always been interested in this, in the psychology of that's how I approach everything. And so I like those shows. I like, you know, I watch I watch Extreme Sisters. I don't know if y'all have seen it, but it's I like to psychoanalyze crazy. That's what I so I like to do. So now I don't want to say crazy. I should use the word crazy, but I just like to, like, I watch Hoarders because I'm fascinated with, you know, with the mind and mental health and what trauma and what goes into, what's the background, the backstory, that creates these people, right? And so I kind of, that's the kind of reality. But other stuff, you know, like The Housewives and you know, shows like that, like it's entertaining for me. Like, I mean, I still watch it, you know, kind of mindless TV when you want to zone out and not really focus on anything. But I'm still looking at the psychology. I'm still analyzing people, right? So I think the difference today is people. I think everyone kind of goes in with a character. I think back in when we were doing this, you know, we were still trying to figure out what this reality TV thing was about, because only thing we had to go on was like the real world, and when, you know, Flav and the rest of them did that's the surreal life, you know, but those are celebrities, right? They were just basically taking celebrities and putting them in a house together, or you know, celebrities that were, I guess, B-list celebrities. You know, so we already knew who they were. They weren't new people to us. And then here we come along and all these just random people that no one knows anything about. And I believe most people were kind of being true to themselves, you know, good and bad, right? You don't know how you're gonna act when you end up in these situations, especially on TV, and you know, and all the, you know, other people that kind of provoke you, and you know, yeah. But I think today, I think people kind of go in with more of knowing what they're gonna, kind of knowing who they're going to portray when the cameras are on.
Right.
I think that's a big difference.
So would you say if you had an opportunity to play one of those characters you just explained, would you mind acting it out, or would you need a little bit more work in that process?
Look, you trying to put me to work. I did not come with the monologue on this or improv skills. So, nah, I don't even know how I'd begin. I'd have to actually, I'd have to think about that. But I would like to be, I would like to be more of an asshole, if I could, without being, in a good way, right? Without being, without being off-putting.
Okay, so author of The Healing Process wants to know, do you still talk to anyone from the two shows?
Yeah. Like I said before, Tango and I are cool. We talk occasionally. You know, he just had a baby a couple of weeks ago, I think. It hasn't even been a month. Beautiful little girl. You know, even after the show was over, I spent a lot of time hanging out with 12 Pack. So at the time, while we were on the show, 12 Pack was in Dave is his name, was in film school. So when the show was over, he was still in school. And so I would go up to New York. I mean, actually New Jersey. He lived in New Jersey. So I would go up there, and I did a couple of projects with him. He was, doing some films for his class. Helped him shoot a couple of films. Did a little touring with him and he. But yeah, Bones. I talked to Bones. Bones. That's a great dude.
I did an interview with him.
Yeah, Bones. He's just a great guy all around. And I've been so glad to see him and his career. On the news now, because it's so fitting. I mean, it's what he was born to do, I think. Let's see, who else? Like I said, Lee was always, I always kept up with Boston. Rico and I, we kind of lost touch. He was, he kind of fell off. He kind of fell off for a little bit, and then resurfaced a few times. But we haven't talked. I haven't talked to that guy in forever. And then there was Ahmad and Kamal, Real a Chance. And I catch up with Chance here and there, but just kind of like social media, we DM, and everything. But we, especially around Ahmad's birthday, Real's birthday, around his birthday and his death, we always kind of connected around that time. Yeah, I want to say that's about it, I think.
Okay, guys, we are going to wrap this up in a second. We're just gonna ask ONIX what you are up to right now, and what are your goals for the future.
Yeah. Well, to answer Farrah's question, Bones is on the news. He's in Seattle? No, where's he at? Is Northern California? Yeah, Northern California. Yeah, he's a news anchor, either morning or weekends or something like that. But yeah, he's doing his thing. So okay, sorry, I didn't hear your wrap up question.
Oh my God! Wait, we have to talk about that real quick. Hold on. The real love and Chance on Zeus. Well, now it's just, but that is called One More.
Oh, so I did watch the first season. I watched the first season, and I think the second season Zeus was trying to get me to pay for it, and I was like, that's all right. What's that?
It was free.
It was free when Zeus first came out, it was free. So I watched the whole first season for free.
I did not know that.
Oh man, it was.
That network is overly produced.
Oh, definitely. And I also, because I'm not trying to, you make television however you want to make television, but Chance had done this before. Chance has done this, 4 times already, right? So he knows the formula. He kind of knows how it goes. Ray J knows the formula too. He's been there, right? So I do think that they might have been trying a little too hard to make it. I think. I think they probably should have let things happen a little bit more organically without necessarily making so. Because the problem with the show is, and it was entertaining, right? Don't get me wrong, but I think it was entertaining for a lot of the wrong reasons. When I look back and I'm like, okay, especially when you got a show about women, right? Mm-hmm. And you kind of have to be careful. There's a fine line. You have to, you really have to walk there, because at the end of the day, people have lives to go back to, right? And a lot of people will do a lot of ththings for fame, right? And yeah, I'll just put it at that. Like some people will, you know, they won't think twice, and then they will have regrets at the end when they're like, oh, you know, I probably shouldn't have, you know, been so susceptible to letting people, convincing people to do this or do that or say this or say that, and yeah. But it was entertaining. I can lie.
All right, one more question.
But I did feel bad for some of those ladies. So yeah.
Me too. I think we all did to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, you kind of have to know what you sign up for in a way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Sometimes you don't know, but like if I watched the season prior, like I would kind of know what to expect. Like say I'm gonna go on one of these shows where these girls are all together. Like I know I'm end up fighting. I know how this is gonna go, so I'm not gonna sign up to be talked to like shit.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you gotta kind of, it's just them going there like, oh no, this is gonna be different.
Yeah. I can only imagine what the second season. I was honestly surprised there was a second season. Like after that first season, I was like, it can't get. I was like, it can't get more wild. I was like, it can't get wilder than this. And I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. But I might have to. I don't know. I have a dog now. I don't know if I can go back and watch.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
I might have to go in and pay my little money and get Zeus back. and the other show with what's her name?
Oh, listen, I know,
but what was the other show on there too that I watched? What's her name?
Jocelyn?
Huh? Jocelyn, yeah, Jocelyn. Show, yeah.
That one, I think that one tops every show on there. That one, crazy.
Yeah, that was wild, like, especially the second season. Oh my god.
Oh, see, that's like I said, second season. I can only imagine.
What they needed to do.
Oh man.
But you know,
okay, how long have we been on here?
I would just say that there's clearly a huge difference these days on, like, you know, y'all did before and what was going on now. I just don't like the overly edit stuff. Like, if I could tell that it's edit, then it's like, it's crazy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And it's also interesting to see the change of, like, the generational switch, a shift. You know, like Farrah, go ahead, you know, Farrah and I, we're old. Oh, God, we're old. You know what I'm saying? We've been around for a minute. So, you know, we're of a whole different generation, right? And, you know, these young ladies that are going on that show, for instance, you know, are all like 19, 20, right? So I'm almost two generations past them, you know? Yeah, probably not even, right? So, I mean, I'm old enough to be all of their father. So, you know, so yeah, I mean, although there has been a shift in the approach to reality TV, but there's also a shift in you know, like, I think the younger generation now going back to watch our show would probably, I don't know, they might be entertained, but probably not as entertained as they would be watching like Chance's new show, right? I don't know.
She said, "Why are you telling your own age?"
Homie.
Come on, Farrah. You got to embrace it.
So I have one more question before you wrap this up.
You look good. You look good for your age.
So you know how these days, like, if someone goes on reality TV, they get booked out in clubs and appearances.
Yeah.
Was that possible for you guys to do around that time?
Oh yeah. We did that all the time. Rolling
police. You know, another show now.
That's the key. That's the key to to looking young. Yeah, we did that. We did that for a while. Me, Real. No, sorry. Me, 12 Pack, Heat. Somebody else went with us a couple times. I want to say we did like a whole circuit. You know, they would fly. There's a couple times they would fly us out. You know, we did. You know, they pay for our plane ticket, put us up in a hotel. You know, if the event made a little money, you know, we'd get some kickbacks from that, and we did that for probably maybe that first year. After I love New York, I went down to Tampa. You know, hung out with Tango. We did a couple of appearances. I would do appearances here in DC, hosting different events.
Bones just joined.
Hey, there's my boy. What's up,
We're
Kev?
talking about you.
What's up, Kev? So yeah, we did that. We did that circuit. I'm not even sure. I mean, I think people still do that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if the club scene, like back then, I don't think the club scene today is what it was then, though. Like, I mean, obviously people are still out in the clubs, but, you know, I don't know if they, like back then, like people would come just to see us, you know, put flyers out and like, boom. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess, I mean, you've talked to, I don't know who you all you've interviewed, but if you've interviewed any like recent reality folks, I don't know if that's still the same.
Right. Well, for the most part, I'm not sure. Because who knows what's even real?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Like, I don't
That's
know.
Because I mean, you think about it now because social media is so big. Like back then, I mean, I can imagine if we had social media the way social media is today.
Right. That's
back when we did it, it would have been right. It would have been overwhelming, right? If we had TikTok, Facebook, and IG, and we don't like, you know. So yeah, all we had was MySpace, and then
you guys would be getting both out.
and then Facebook came. I mean, but by then, I mean, so yeah, and Twitter. Did we have Twitter? I think Twitter had just started. Twitter was just getting started back then.
And you guys would still be in play.
Exactly. We would be rich because it was so easy to take advantage of us back then. I mean, it's like when you really look at the Of Loves, and nothing against Chris and those guys. I mean, they obviously, you know, I wouldn't be here talking to you if it wasn't for the show and what, you know, Chris and 51 Minds and what they did. But, you know, they made a lot of shows and we didn't make a lot of money. So they made a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And they're still making money. I mean, they're still producing shows to this day. So, you know, they were once, and I was actually just talking to someone about this the other day, the cast of Jersey Shore, like they were the ones that changed the game. Like after their first couple of seasons, and they said, look, we're not coming back unless you pay us. And then they made bank. And yeah. And someone got to them and said, hey, look, why you guys should be making money. I mean, that's kind of the evolution of it, right? You know, we were getting paid. I mean, granted, we were an elimination show, right? So it wasn't like, you know, all of us were coming back every week for a whole season, you know, multiple seasons. But, you know, they basically just kind of bought us out, right? We get a per diem, so we get paid per episode that you're on the show. But there are no residuals.
Oh man, I was just like, get to that question. I was like, oh man.
There are no residuals. Yeah. And I don't know what the deal, like I don't know what Tiffany or what, you know, Real and Chance, I don't know what their contracts were. I do know, like, for instance, Tiffany's contract, her contract was to do so many shows. That's why she kept coming back. And she did, you know, Tiffany Goes to Work, and then, or New York Goes to Work, and then like all those other shows. And then she ended up doing some more reality TV shows because that was in her contract. So, but I don't know if she gets residuals from anything. So every time they show I Love New York, I don't know if she still gets paid or not. I honestly, I doubt it, but it's possible. I don't know. It depends on the contract that she had. But yeah, like now, yeah, it's totally different. You know, you can kind of negotiate your individual contracts, I think.
Your
All
lawyer.
right, so the last question I'm going to ask you is, what are the things you have going on now, and what are your goals for the future?
Oh man, I don't. I mean, I have goals. Um, I'm getting at that age there. I'm getting old, so it's like that midlife crisis thing is, I think, is real. Like, it's like you start questioning everything about your life and where you're going and what you're doing, especially when you have a family, have kids. I spend more time worried about my kid who's getting ready to start middle school than I do myself. You know what I mean? But there's some things that I still want to do. I mean, I'm coming off of, I had a Best Supporting Actor Emmy nomination, right before I guess right before COVID. Was this 2023? So that was 2020, 2019, 2020. So I want to try to do. Um, I'm more involved in the production end, even though I still like acting. But I really like creating now, I think, more than anything. Like I want to, there's a documentary I've been wanting to write and make, produce. I keep kicking myself in the butt a little bit, because it's like, all right, if I don't hurry up and do it, somebody else is gonna do it, right? And then I'm gonna be mad. Somebody took my idea, and then I'm like watching Netflix one day, and I'm like, ah, shit. But that's one thing I want to do.
So much for supporting Sarah.
Yeah, Farrah's cool. She's always, because she's probably the one person that like over the years that I've always kind of kept an eye on, and she's always been so nice. Always been so nice. So yeah, so there's that. There's, like I said, there's that I think that's my pet project. Like, that is my bucket list, is to get this documentary created. And I don't want to tell you what it is, because somebody's gonna
Right.
You know how it goes. You know how it goes.
But those, yeah. I mean, but those that that follow me, I've had a couple of shows that I've hosted, in the past few years, and I enjoy doing that. So I mean, maybe put another show together. But I think what I've been thinking about lately is starting my own casting agency. I've really been wanting to do that, and because I just feel like I have a real good eye for talent, and you know. And what I do in my day job, I'm a staffing professional, right? I mean, so I give people jobs for a living, and I mean, that's what I do. Like, I spot talent, and so I think that's ultimately. But at the same time, like I said, I mean, I also have a kid that I kind of want to live vicariously through, and she doesn't. I don't think she's definitely got the acting bug, and the music bug. Like, she's a great singer. I think she'd be a great actress one day. So it's just kind of giving her the direction and the insight that I didn't have growing up, and kind of helping to move her in the right directions to make those choices. Either that, or I think one day she'll be great. I tell her today that she can be a great psychiatrist or a psychologist one day. But I'm trying to get her to, like, go that route of, hey, you can always have something to fall back on. Be a good writer. Also take your acting classes. But you might be a great psychologist, but you can do that on television, right? You could be the next Dr. Phil, or or something like that. But yeah, so that's it for me. I'm just looking to, well, maybe one day retire and not have to work too hard, and then I can do a lot of the things that I really truly have a passion for. But yeah, and then maybe here one day we'll do another project and get another Emmy. I don't know. I do want to. It's like when they tell you it's great to be nominated, it is the first time, but then after that, you want to win, and then you get pissed
Right.
when you don't win.
Right.
So,
I think anybody does, right?
exactly. So I gotta, keep grinding, keep getting out there, working on some projects that, and I've been fortunate to be surrounded by, a group of people, a family actually, with, my the creator of the show Anacostia that we've been doing for so long, and his name's Anthony Anderson, and then the rest of our cast and crew. We've done some really great things, and it's kind of when you have a group of people that really work well and gel together, and you come so close. It's just you're just waiting for that one person to get it, to make it, and then bring everybody else, with them. And hopefully that, that may happen before I get too old. But I'm glad I look young, so I don't have to, I can add a few extra years on. But yeah, just
Thank you
just
so
doing what
much
I do
for
to take care of the family.
responding and keeping your word, because
Yes.
yes, we really appreciate that.
Oh, no problem, no problem. I mean, Ed, look, everybody is out here trying to do what they do, trying to make it, trying to, and I've always wanted to, to help people, and and I think about all the times when I needed support, right? And you don't always get it. Sometimes you don't even get it from the people that you expect it from, right? And so, anytime someone's out trying to do something, I'm willing to support, especially if it's if I see they're doing good things. And I've seen you, and I know that because there's been a lot of people over the years that kind of pop up and kind of do like this whole rewind, with reality TV, and I saw you and I was like, oh, like she seems pretty genuine. So
Oh, thank you.
and at the end of the day too, it's just you can tell who the real fans are, and I'm always wanting to support the real fans.
Thank you so much.
Especially the ones that because I know I wasn't like the biggest standout on any of these shows, but the real fans that because you reached out to me and I'm like, oh, she's a real fan. If you reach out to me, you're a real fan, because there's plenty of other people. I mean, I know you've reached out to other people too, but at the same time, I'm still honored that that you reached out.
Right.
And so yeah, I'm always down to support.
All right, guys, I gotta end.
So we got a Bad Girls Club.
I'm gonna definitely send you the thumbnail and everything I'm gonna use. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. See, I get a little worried sometimes when I do these interviews because it's been so long since the show, and then I'm like, all right, who am I gonna piss off? Because I know I'm gonna say something to piss somebody off.
I don't think
What are you watching?
to worry about. Everything will last now anyway.
So it's all good. But this was fun.
Worry about.
This was fun, and it was a good Easter. I didn't go to church, so
yeah.
this is
Happy Easter, everybody.
my church.
Yeah.
This is my Sunday service. So so let me ask, where are you both located? That I do not know.
Harlem.
You're in New York?
Yeah.
Where are you?
Harlem, New York.
Oh, both in New York. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I need to get up there. I had a project that I was doing right before COVID. We had a project that didn't get, and that's the thing now. It's like you have so many opportunities. There's some great projects out there, but sometimes they just don't get made, or they don't get picked up. And there was a show that I was working on out there right before COVID, and it didn't go anywhere. But who knows? It might happen again.
All right.
It was wonderful seeing you and being part of this lab as well.
Oh, good. Well, thanks for joining. Much appreciated.
All right, guys. I'm gonna end this. Okay.
All right. All right. Y'all have a
Thank
good night.
you.
All right. Thank you.